All right, time to round up one of our big stories from the week. 50 years ago, President Lyndon Johnson pushed through Congress a host of new civil rights laws, extending greater protections to African Americans. Well, this week, President Obama and 3 former presidents gathered in Austin to herald the progress made since LBJ's agenda took off. George W. Bush closed out the 3-day Civil Rights Summit, saying education is the key for poor and minority children.
Education in America is no longer legally separate, but it is still not effectively equal.
The president spoke at the LBJ library, saying he fears, quote, the soft bigotry of low expectations is returning 50 years after the signing of the Civil Rights Act. Is the country now living in a post-racial period, or is there still work to be done on civil rights for all Americans? That's our topic this half hour. It's a big one. We want to hear from you. You can share your thoughts on our Fox 26 Facebook page, or you can always send me a tweet at Sally Mack, Fox 26. In our newsroom, we have our legal analyst, Chris Tritico. We have our public policy analyst, Jackie Bally. And sitting in for Mustafa today, we have former Democratic Party Chair Jerry Bernberg. Good morning again, guys.
Hello.
All right, so do you think education is the most important civil rights issue right now?
Well, there's a whole host of civil rights issues right now that we're talking about. We just talked about equal pay for women. There's a whole host of them. Education is probably at the key of most of the issues that we deal with in civil rights, and I thought George Bush's statement was poignant and well said. I wish Jerry Bernberg he'd have said that while he was president.
Oh, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to agree with him and say that he's essentially correct. I would say, however, the answer to your question is the most serious civil rights issue we have on the table today is the ability of people to vote and to participate in the electoral process. But education is also the key to what we need to do to get from where we are to where we need to be. And isn't that ironic? Because education was the thing that spurred the civil rights movement really in the 1960s.
George Bush said that while education is the key, he fears, and I really like the statement, he fears the soft bigotry of low expectations is returning. I thought that was a very, very poignant statement about the state of race, of equal rights in the United States.
Whenever the civil rights movement began, you would see more of a concentration of the Black and African American community. And right now you see quite a few of us maybe in the suburbs. It's not quite the way it was. So the Black churches that used to have like a central focus and they were all concentrated in one place, you're not seeing that. The Blacks who are in the suburbs, statistics and data shows that they're doing quite well. I came to this country, my parents came to this country to give me a better education, pursuit of the American dream, and if it wasn't for the civil rights movement, that opportunity would not have happened. So you are seeing some positive steps. Is there room for improvement? There's always going to be room for improvement.
Let me ask you this before we go back to Jerry, because I saw Bill Clinton speak talking last week, and he said that he fears what's going to happen with equal rights, with the Supreme Court sanctioning the limitation of voting rights.
Well, first of all, and specifically, you've heard the president talk about the South and the voter ID. That's one of the things that they've been targeting. The gentleman over the DOJ, they have been targeting Texas. There's nothing illegal. There's nothing wrong with showing your ID. We do it for library books. We do it for many other reasons. And if you are here legally, then you have some kind of photo ID. There are many opportunities to get that for free, so it's not like we're discriminating. We're saying you have to pay for it. So no, our voting rights are not really have been infringed on, and it's definitely not the way the president has been
Jerry,
applied.
I want you to respond to that in just a minute. I got to go to Sally. She's got a question for us.
Yeah, some of our viewers are reaching out with a few questions about the education topic, but I do want to hear Jerry's response to that. Our viewers are asking, what are the solutions to improving education in some of the poor and minority schools, and doesn't there need to be more accountability in some of these low-performing schools? You
know, before Jerry responds, let me just say the accountability issue is one, and I practice education law. The accountability issue is one that really needs to be dealt with, because what we've done, and quite frankly, George Bush, when he was the governor of Texas, is the one who started this. The accountability measures that we use by testing children repeatedly have done more to hurt education in the state of Texas than it did to help. And so if the legislature wants to do something, they need to stop the testing of children and go to something else. Jerry.
If you really believe that the reason that we have photo ID and all the rest of the restrictions and voter suppression things that have been put in place in the last 2 years is somehow we're trying to preserve the integrity of the vote, I got a bridge to sell you in Brooklyn. Look, the truth of the matter is that there are hundreds of thousands of Texans who are voter eligible who do not actually possess that kind of ID. I teach this at my South Texas College of Law class, and I challenge my students to go get one of these so-called free voter ID identification cards. You can't do it. You can't get it. But without getting into all of that issue, I want to say that the entirety of what's going on in suppressing votes by cutting the ability to participate in early vote, the ability of deputy voter registrars to register people, the photo ID requirements, have a birth certificate to even be entitled to register to vote. All of those things are intended to keep people from voting and not to be making voting easier. As a democracy, we should be encouraging people to participate in the voting process.
Final thought.
Well, we are encouraging. We want all of our legal residents and our legal citizens to vote, and having a voter ID is not putting some kind of infringement or something that we're trying to keep a certain group from voting. And thank goodness the legislators and the judges and justices agree with me.
All right, we're going to leave it right there. Sally, we'll be back talk about the situation they're ever growing in the Ukraine.
Okay, sounds good, Chris Tritico. Thanks so much. We appreciate it, guys.